As most people already know, the latest update to Ghost Simulator has been version 1.93, which has brought the Halloween update, and is actually quite a big anticipated update for Ghost Simulator. And like all updates to Ghost Simulator, today we'll be going over and reviewing and rating this update on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, the first thing about this update that most people will notice is that it shares the same map as the previous two Halloween updates, with a small addition over to one side with some new ghosts. I really like the idea of reusing the same Halloween map over and over with smaller changes, since it really adds nostalgia value to the events and just makes older players feel very welcome in them. Now, when it comes to the event itself, the main two things that most people are going to be worried about is the two new NPCs included, Ghost Hunter Luna over here and Ghost Hunter Pumpkin Bow over in the gated area off over here. And these two NPCs, like most event questlines, are very cool to go through and give some nice rewards for players, but are quite quick and go by pretty quickly for most people who are playing the event. As for other pets and boards from this event, it shares a very similar theme to the other two Halloween events, with having the same layout of boss chests as most events, and also sharing a shop with both some boards that you can buy just straight with candy, and also a pet crate that you can buy with candy to get a random pet from. Now, this layout is actually very old and is the exact same layout as the 2020 Halloween event, and is very similar to the 2019 Halloween event. And I really like the layout of it, since it gives a lot of candy for players who grind it, which they can go in turn get quite a ton of stuff from the shop, while also leaving some rare stuff that you can go buy with keys that are more collectible and rare. Now, the biggest part of this update and the newest part is actually the addition of a tower. Compared to the previous dungeons, it does seem a little bit longer, since it consists of 6 different floors, including 2 different bosses. And so, because of that, many people may not like it just because it's slightly longer, but I actually really like the idea of a tower, since it is randomly generated and will be new each time. Along with the idea of having multiple bosses that drop keys, makes it more rewarding and actually gives quite a bit of variety to the grind, since you actually have to face 2 bosses instead of 1. You have to be prepared for a little bit more. Although I do know some of the attacks are bugged for some people, and if you are experiencing bugs with the hollows grabbing you, maybe due to your character being weirdly proportioned. So if you're like extremely short or tall or something, maybe try changing to a more normal proportions, and you may have a little less trouble with that. Honestly though, no one really knows exactly why the bug's happening. It's just something that most people think it is related. Now, although I did say I really like the concept of the tower, one of the more annoying things about the tower is the amount of wait time between each floor. Since you have to wait 20 seconds after the auto teleport timer, it just seems like a super long time to have to wait in a room while everyone's just sitting there doing nothing. Other than that though, I really like the idea, and honestly the wait time isn't actually too bad still, since I can do at least a tower in under 10 minutes usually. It gives me about 5 keys, so a key every 2 minutes is not bad in terms of rates anyways. It's just that waiting around is not always the funnest thing to be doing in a game. One of the smaller details that I actually also really liked from this event was the inclusion of older items in the gum machine of this event. So you can actually go turn in like candies from 2019 if you have them, or 2020 ones, and actually get a substantial amount of candies from them, instead of those items just being otherwise useless, since most of them you can't trade and they are worth anything even if you could trade them. Now, there is actually one confusing thing about the tower. As I mentioned before, I get 5 keys from the tower. You actually get 1 additional key roughly 30 seconds after you defeat hollows for finishing the tower itself, which I know a lot of people get confused on, since there isn't any notification of it or any reason why you'd think you'd get it. So could use a little bit of clarification, like instead of it pop into your inventory, they could have a little pop-up like you have when you open a chest, as to you get 1 key for finishing the tower or something, just so people are a little bit more understanding on what they're getting, since I know a lot of people are confused on where they're getting a key or how many keys they're getting from that, and it just seems to be a little bit more confusing than it really should be. But that's really not part of the update itself, it's more of how it's designed, so you still get the same rewards anyways. The map itself, as I've said before, it is the Halloween 2020 map, and I really like it as I said, for nostalgic purposes. The only really complaint I have with it is bat ghosts. Their hitbox is weird. Like, you can actually not click on like half of it, and really, since it is in the dungeon, it can get really annoying to try to click on this ghost while you have like vacuuming 20 others. That's really my only complaint with reusing the old Halloween stuff, is the fact that the bat ghost hitbox hasn't ever been fixed. It's been a problem since it first came out in 2019. But other than that, I really like the idea of this event, especially with the inclusion now of merging some of the normal world stuff with Ghost Hunter Luna from the main part of Ghost Simulator into the events. And just interlacing a lot of Ghost Simulator, because usually events have been completely separate from the actual Ghost Sim lore. Now we've had both NPCs come from the events into the main part of Ghost Simulator, with like Bo coming into Ghost Simulator main thing, and also Ghost Hunter Ella from Pink Elf or Egg Hunter Ella from the Hunter event. Now we have normal NPCs coming into events, which really helps tie the whole event into the Ghost Simulator, which I really like. Anyways, with that, I think it's time for me to give my overall rating and review on this update, since I've already gone through most of what's contained in the update. This update has been really highly anticipated by most people in the community. Halloween is usually a very big time for games, especially as Christmas comes very shortly after. Good time to be grinding events and stuff for games, especially on Roblox, which seems to be very heavily centered around a Christmas and Halloween updates for most games. So it's really nice to see it come out and actually contain some new content, since a lot of times some updates, just especially events, end up being like just direct copies or more or less the same as previous events. So I really like the inclusion of a new tower element in it, and because of that, and like just the general consistency of the event being nice, I will give this update probably a 7 out of 10 on my thing. The reason why I say probably is I haven't really grinded the event too much to know how annoyed I will be at this bat hitbox not being fixed, since like this has been seriously one of the worst things I've disliked about the Halloween events for a very long time. I mean, sometimes like honestly, it's like you can click the bat ghost quite a bit of the area, but it's just those small little places where you can't really click it that just gets really annoying, especially in dungeon and now this new tower. But with that, I think that's all my thoughts in the update review for update 93, aka the Halloween event. And if you guys really want to enjoy, you guys can go play this event anytime for the next 4 weeks almost. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as I am, and good luck with your grinding.